Have you noticed that some things that worked perfectly when you were younger suddenly seem to not work anymore? That food that used to give you energy now makes you sleepy. What used to be light digestion now turns into bloating. Well, it's not just your impression. It's your body saying, this no longer works for me. Do you also feel that certain foods that used to sit well with you now make your body feel slower, heavier, or more tired? If so, know that you're not alone, and this isn't a sign of weakness, it's a sign of transformation. At 30, the body is resilient, fast, and adaptable. But after 55, metabolism changes, hormones change, and even the way your organs react to food changes. And some foods that once seemed great for you now start to weigh you down, inflame you, or silently disrupt your health. Today we're going to talk about 6 foods that the body accepted well in youth, but after 55 start causing invisible damage. Foods that, even though they look healthy, can affect your energy, digestion, circulation, and even your memory. And to make this clearer, we're going to follow 2 parallel stories. Linda, 59, who started listening to her body's signals, and Susan, 58, who still insists on eating like she's 30. The difference between them is what you'll understand now and perhaps see yourself in them too. Food 1, skim milk. At 30, skim milk seems like a smart choice. It has less fat, fewer calories, and was a favorite of diets. But after 55, this light version can become a silent burden. This is because the removal of fat reduces the absorption of vitamins A, D, and K, essential for bones, immunity, and even the heart. Moreover, to maintain texture, the industry adds thickeners, stabilizers, and emulsifiers, which the mature body takes longer to process, leading to bloating, gas, and digestive discomfort. Susan drank skim milk every day, thinking it was good for her, but she had been feeling bloated and with irregular bowel movements. She had no idea the cause could be in this detail. Linda did a test. She swapped skim milk for a small portion of organic whole milk and began including kale, tahini, and almonds in her routine. In a few weeks, she noticed the difference in mood, digestion, and even sleep. Food 2, light and industrialized 12-grain breads. Susan always chose the fit versions from the market: 12-grain bread, gluten-free bread, bread with extra fiber. But what the labels don't highlight is that these products, despite appearing healthy, often use white flour as a base along with chemical additives, inverted sugar, and refined oils. After 55, the body needs slower digestion, lower glycemic impact, and real fiber. And these industrialized breads do the opposite. They cause glucose spikes, mental fatigue, and a feeling of hunger right after. Linda started choosing breads with natural fermentation, made with real whole wheat flour, at markets like Whole Foods or at small local bakeries. She eats less but eats well, and she feels it in her body. Less bloating, more satiety, and constant energy. If this is making sense to you, tell me in the comments. Where are you watching from? It's always amazing to see how people from so many different places are going through the same changes, and how small decisions on your plate can make such a big difference in daily life. Food 3, fat-free yogurts with artificial flavors. Susan always bought the colorful pots of fat-free yogurt with fruit flavor. The label promised digestive health, fewer calories, and heart benefits. But what she didn't know is that to maintain flavor after removing the natural fat, industries add thickeners, colorants, artificial sweeteners, and flavorings, all of which are hard to process for a body that's already dealing with a slower metabolism. Tufts University, in a recent study, showed that adults over 55 who consume highly processed dairy products have a higher risk of intestinal inflammation, loss of lean mass, and hormonal imbalances. And the most concerning part, many of these products give a false sense of lightness, when in practice they overload the intestine and liver. Linda, noticing that she felt gassy and had heartburn after eating yogurt, made a simple swap. She started consuming natural, full-fat yogurt, unsweetened, and added fresh fruit, chia, and cinnamon on her own. In no time, she started feeling better after breakfast with much lighter digestion. Food 4, orange juice in the morning. It seems healthy, right? A freshly squeezed orange, pure juice. But after 55, the body no longer handles high loads of liquid fructose without the fiber from the whole fruit. The juice passes through the digestive system too quickly, causing a sugar spike, and for many people, it leads to drowsiness or irritation. Shortly after, Susan kept the habit of drinking orange juice at breakfast, thinking it was a natural energy boost, but she was always hungry shortly after and would experience a crash in the middle of the morning. The American Journal of Clinical Nutrition published a study showing that daily consumption of concentrated juices or even natural juices without fiber in adults over 55 is linked to blood sugar fluctuations, visceral fat accumulation, and increased insulin resistance, factors that silently harm the heart. Linda replaced the juice with whole fruits, oats, and seeds, and she noticed something no one told her. The energy lasts longer, satiety increases, and her body thanks her. If you've made any of these swaps or are noticing changes in your body, feel free to tell me where you're watching this video from. It's inspiring to see people from Brazil, the United States, Europe, and India all going through this same turning point and seeking smarter choices with more awareness and less guilt. We still have 2 more foods to go, and one of them may be in your daily routine without you realizing how much it's harming you today. Food 5. Ready-made sauces and processed seasonings. Susan has always been practical. She used ready-made salad dressings, bouillon cubes, and processed seasonings for dinner. Just a little bit, just to add flavor, she would say. But that just a little bit, repeated every day, was hiding an excess of sodium, monosodium glutamate, colorings, and preservatives, which her body could no longer filter the same way as before. After 55, the liver, kidneys, and even the brain become more sensitive to excess additives. Johns Hopkins School of Medicine warned that frequent use of these products is linked to increased blood pressure, mild mental confusion, and fluid retention. In older adults, even in those who eat well the rest of the day, Linda realized she could simplify without losing flavor. She started using olive oil, fresh herbs, turmeric, garlic, and lemon. In addition to enhancing the flavor, she felt less bloated, with clearer skin and fewer headaches in the late afternoon. Food 6. Refined pasta, even light. Susan thought eating pasta occasionally was harmless, especially when she chose the light or fat-free versions. But the problem isn't in the calories, it's in the impact that refined flour has on the body after 55. It's digested quickly, turns into sugar in the blood within minutes, and requires a huge effort from the pancreas, insulin, and circulation. What used to be just a tasty dinner now turned into fatigue, heaviness in the legs, and restless sleep. Susan didn't make that connection, but the body did. According to Mayo Clinic, frequent consumption of pasta made with white flour is directly linked to the loss of stable energy and increased silent inflammation, which is one of the most common causes of chronic fatigue in older adults. Linda didn't stop eating pasta, but she changed the type. She started preparing whole grain pasta, or pasta made from chickpeas, lentils, or quinoa. She also reduced the portion size, complementing it with vegetables and olive oil. The result? Less heavy sleep, less urge to snack after meals, and a body that started responding with more lightness. Conclusion. At 30, the body can handle a lot, but after 55, it starts asking for respect. But this respect doesn't come with fear nor with prohibition. It comes with listening, with awareness, with small swaps that make all the difference in the long run. Susan isn't neglectful. She's like many people. She learned what worked before and keeps repeating it. But what worked before doesn't work anymore, and that's okay. You just need to update. You just need to observe. Linda didn't make a revolution. She just started paying attention, questioning the label, experimenting. And it was like that, one step at a time, that she reconnected with her body, with more energy, less discomfort, and more lightness. And you, which one do you see yourself in today? If this video helped you think differently, write in the comments your age and where you're watching from. Let's build a community where aging is done with clarity, courage, and choice, not with fear or confusion. And if this content can help someone in your family, share it. Sometimes, what someone needs is a subtle push to realize that the 55+ phase isn't about renunciation, it's about transformation. Like, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, because here, we don't talk about aging as a problem. We talk about living as someone who has finally understood what the body needs. And you just took that step right now.